And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dickel F. Lockett. Hi, folks. I got a few jokes for you tonight. A book fell on my head the other day. I only have my shelf to blame. What did the buffalo say when his son left for college? Bye, son. What's the difference between ignorance and apathy? I don't know, and I don't care. A baseball walks into a bar. The bartender throws it out. What do you call an alligator in a vest? An investigator. Why did the scarecrow win an award?
Why?
Because he was outstanding in his field. What do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese. Why do melons have weddings? Because they can't elope. 3 men are stranded in a boat with 4 cigarettes and no way to light them. So they toss the 4th cigarette overboard, which makes the whole boat a cigarette lighter. Why did the bicycle fall over? It was too tired. How do you change tires on a duck? With a Quacker Jack. Anyone out there know who Buzz 1151 is? You know, he's the YouTuber who fixes old radios. Well, Buzz is not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. His IQ equals room temperature. If you gave old Buzz a penny for his thoughts, you'd get change back. If brains were taxed, Buzz would get a rebate. He's so dense, light bends around him. It takes Buzz 2 hours to watch the TV show 60 Minutes. He has to get naked to count to 21. Buzz took me to Outback Steakhouse for my birthday. After he finished, the waiter walked up to him and asked him, "How did you find your steak, sir?" Buzz replied, "Well, I just looked next to the potatoes, and there it was." That's my time. Hope you had a few laughs. Good night, folks.
And now, back by popular demand, your favorite YouTuber, Buzz1151.
Well, welcome to part 2 of this 1935 Atwater Kent radio series.
Thanks.
Today, it's supposed to be a scorcher. Here's the weather forecast here in Beavertown, Oregon.
Hi.
But we're not going to let that stop us. There's work to be done. So, let's get to it. What I want to accomplish on part 2 here is to take out the tuning mechanism and take a closer look at it. Then, I want to clean the chassis, show you the cabinet, and do a little gluing on that.
Oh, goody.
So this is the tuner. I have taken the wheel out. I think there's like 4 screws on the bottom. So let me see if I can get to those and take it out.
Now let's get it out of there.
Well, there it is.
There it is. I can see it.
That's going to need a lot of work, huh? I think I'll take this glass off. Looks like there's some push pins in here. Let's see if I can get those off. Okay, I got the last one here. Let's get it off. I don't want it to pop off and go on the carpet. Okay. Let's see if we can remove this. This has never been off since it was put in at the factory. Amazing, huh? Gonna be very, very careful with this, baby. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3 screws. Let me take those off and see if this thing comes out. Well, there's always one that won't come out, huh? Let's put some liquid wrench on that.
Just a tiny bit.
Too much, too much.
Let that soak in there. I think I got it. This goes in this slot here.
How very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's not so bad. Let's take a look at this thing here. Let's see what happens when I take that screw out. Was not in there tight.
Don't do that.
It's got a screw with a lock washer in it. Looks like there's 2 set screws here. There's one there and one there. I guess I can use these holes here to loosen them. Looks like the paint there, you see it here, is flaking off. This needs to be taken off so I can paint that. Let's see if I can remove this.
Don't do that!
Without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me sing a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone. Without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Well, there's that son of a gun. It was really in there. So I'm just going to clean all this mess with this brake cleaner. Get off as much of that gunk as I can.
Please stand back and try not to inhale the toxic fumes.
That's nasty. I'm gonna take it outside now. Well, that brake cleaner sure evaporated fast. And it's so hot out there. But it did the trick here. Look at this. It's unbelievable. I can use my little finger and push it.
Smooth.
Oh man, this sucks.
So while that tuner is soaking, let's just see what kind of finish there is underneath this crap here. We're going to use the old standby Brasso. Don't need some of this dirt here. See how much rust is on there. That's pretty good, huh? It looks like there might be some surface rust here. But it's not as bad as I thought. We'll see if we can clean this area up. Looks like that's rust.
Oh crap.
That's going to take a lot of scrubbing to get that clean. Well, here's the front of the cabinet. It's got pieces of veneer missing over here. Over here. Got a loose veneer. This piece is loose here. Got some screws in there. Let's take those screws off.
Screw you, pal.
What is dry? Dry as dust. See if we can get these speaker screws out. Looks like that fell out. I ordered a new one of these dial covers here. Here we can see a close-up of the loose veneer. It's got to be glued on again. In fact, this whole side here is lifting up. Here's some more. I guess the first thing I'll do is just glue the veneer back on there. Then we can find some veneer to patch this up.
Ah, glue! Why? You sure spreading that on thick.
It was amateur night, you could tell.
Here's the top of the cabinet. Pretty rough shape there. This is the side that cracked off. This piece here, I believe it goes like that. These nails are loose. Guess it goes like that. Let's just glue that.
Lays it on a bit thick, doesn't it?
As you can see, this is no easy task. I'm going to continue doing the front panel here. And once this is dry, let's see if we can put the top on. This piece is going to go here. So let me glue that.
It's pretty dang exciting, huh?
This really is exciting for me.
I'll line up with these holes here. Let's see if I can get these nails back in there.
Great glue test, Batman!
Well, we got the sides, top and bottom. Now there's one more piece besides the front panel. And it's this piece here that just broke off. So I'm just going to glue this here. And the cabinet will be all together except for the front. Time to slop on the glue.
The thicker the better.
You're soft, you're sloppy, you're unruly, you're undisciplined.
Two hours later.
Oh boy, seems like I've been doing this forever.
Poor baby.
Every time I took off a layer of rust, underneath that there was another layer, and another layer, and it kept going on and on and on.
Stop whining.
So I'm going to take this and rinse it off, and once I do that, I'll show it to you. Then I can be done with this. Well, there it is after the rinse.
Oh, brother.
I'm going to see if I can polish this up a little bit.
We got any lube?
Well, that's as good as it's going to get. Don't look that hot, but
It's not that bad. It's not good either.
compared to what it looked like before, I guess it's okay. Okay, back to the chassis. Oh boy, will this ever end? Now that I cleaned the tuner, I gotta turn my attention to this thing. I guess the tuner was 2 hours of the suckiest hours of my life. This will probably equal it.
Oh, shut up your mouth!
Too bad everything doesn't look like this, but you gotta do it.
Just do it.
Gonna have to take off these IF cans, the capacitors, the coils. I'm gonna have to rewire this transformer, but I'm just gonna see how long it takes to get this cleaned up here. Then we'll do all that. Fun times.
Much later.
Well, that's about 3/4 done. This chassis has some deep rust in it. Let's see if we can get a close-up of that.
Holy mackerel, Andy.
This is one of the worst spots here. This took forever to get that out.
I believe it.
Me too.
After uncovering all the dirt and stuff, I noticed that these tubes are marked. Like this one says 6F6. Look at that. These were some wires that were soldered to the chassis.
Yeah.
I still got to clean all this rust over here. It's going to take a while. I got to take the transformer off and rewire it.
Why stop to think of whether this little dream might fade? We put our hearts together. Now we are one. I'm not afraid if there's a cloud above.
I'm going to cut all these wires and label them. Okay, I'll strip the chassis. You have the transformer, IF coil, antenna coil, I think, and maybe an RF coil. We have a choke. We have the volume control. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chassis.
Oh, dummies.
Here's the chassis. I've got to do all this here. This has got some heavy rust. It looks just as bad as this portion here. Maybe worse. I'm going to do all this off camera. And I've been thinking what I want to do with this chassis. I may be able to polish this up, but this is going to look like crap. So to paint or not to paint? That is the question. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is the de-rusted chassis in all its glory.
Oh, good Lord!
It looks like hell.
Yep.
But I guess it could be worse. Now, I've painted chassis in the past before, and it's usually the last thing I want to do because it's such a pain in the butt. But I've decided to paint this.
Oh, no!
Also, what I think I would like to do here is make this into an experimenting with Buzz segment.
Yippee!
I'm going to attempt to fill in these pits here.
Pits.
With Bondo. Will this work? I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, you got that right.
But I think this will make an interesting segment. We can watch me fail. Or we can watch me succeed. Knowing old Buzz, he'll probably fail. But it's no big deal. It's going to get painted anyway. So let's do it. I'm going to start right here in the middle and use that as a test area to see if I can do the rest of it. It shouldn't take that long.
You're crazy.
So let's go ahead and mix some of that up and try it.
Shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. crashing in other places. But the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south. Way on down south, London town. You check out Guitar George. He knows all the chords. Mine is strictly rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. If then an old guitar is all he can afford, when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky-tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. Crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies in their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans that play Creole. Creole. And then the man steps right up to the microphone and says at last, just as the time bell rings, good night, now it's time to go home. Then he makes it fast with one more thing. We are the Sultans. We are the Sultans of Swing.
Well, I'm certainly not the Sultan of Swing, but maybe old Buzz is the Sultan of old radios. What do you think? I kind of like that. Well, the paint job on the chassis is all done. Let's take a closer look, shall we? I didn't put enough of the Bondo on here.
Yep.
That was probably when I was thinking about Anne Margaret, and my mind went crazy. But I probably could have done that again. But considering what it looked like before, I'm not going to complain. You can see over here, it's nice and smooth. This is where I started at the very middle of it. Remember that?
Smooth as a baby's behind.
I like it. Here's where the names of the tubes are stamped in on the chassis. That looks pretty cool. I noticed they have an 856 here.
I see.
This chassis was used on a few models. The 856 and the one I'm working on, which is the 456, use the same chassis as does the 976. But I think the difference was on mine, the tuning dial is different and the style of the front grille. I'm not really sure, but even got a serial number there.
Nice!
Well, here's the front part of the chassis. I did not paint. I masked this off because why paint it? It looks pretty good just the way it is.
Yes.
No rust on that side. Although I did paint the rear. This has a bunch of rust down here. All in all, I've got to be pretty pleased with the outcome. Because that final top coat looked like hell when I was spraying it on there, it was drying as fast as I sprayed. I thought it might be a disaster, but after sanding it, it turned out good. So I give myself a C+ on this. So according to the clock on the wall, this will conclude today's episode. On part 3, I'm going to rewire the chassis. Oops. What? Chassis? I mean, I'm going to rewire the chassis. I'm going to put everything back, including the tuner. And then apply power and test this radio. Hopefully it'll work. But looking at all this mess and all these parts, who knows? If this thing works right off the bat, I'll be flabbergasted. So you don't want to miss that. It certainly will be exciting for you and for me. But for now, I must leave you. Ah, don't cry. I'll be back before you can say Jack Robinson. This is Old Buzz 1151, signing off. Good night, everybody.
Don't touch that dial.
Boy, is it hot. Let's just see if we can fry an egg on this sidewalk. Well, that worked out so well, I decided to cook some bacon with that. Smells pretty good.
It's dinner time.
I think Dickel deserves a good meal tonight after his comedy routine last night. He didn't know I was there. I hope he chokes on this, the little rat. Hey Dickel, I made some bacon and egg sandwiches. Do you want one?
What? Oh boy! Dinner! Thanks, Buzz. I'm starving.
There you go. Bon appetit.
Hey, Buzz. Can you get me another beer? Come to Papa. How about that beer, Buzz? Boy, that was good. Hey, Buzz, can you cook me another bacon and egg sandwich? That was the best I ever had.
Huh?